Another HD-28V. I used to get these guitars all the time. I used to get the D18GE that I just videoed. I used to get the HD-28Vs. Got those all the time. Then the Authentics came out, and I started getting less and less of these. Plus, I probably worked on most of these. But this is what I worked on, I think, in 2017. And he sent it back to me for a few things because the bridge was coming off. The saddle was a little bit loose. And then it just had some other very slight tune-up issues. And so the bridge was coming off. And he took it to a couple of repairmen up where he lives, back east. And it's funny because one of them said, oh, they should never have these long saddles. It should always be short drop-in saddles. And I'm like, fortunately, my customer is pretty well informed. And he was like, you don't know what you're talking about because this is an HD-28V vintage reissue, In fact, yeah, it actually says it. I thought it said so in the neck plug. It's a vintage series. So, it's supposed to have a long saddle. And the saddle didn't have anything to do with the bridge coming off. And then there was some other issue. The guy said something about the bridge that I don't remember what it was, but it's just like, golly. Oh, because I glued the saddle in, I think. You always, you need to glue long saddles in. They're stronger, it makes the bridge stronger. It just locks everything down. It's not any big deal ungluing them. And in fact, the only reason you really need to unglue them is if you have to raise it or you have to change it entirely. But to lower the saddle, I can do it in the bridge without ever ungluing it or nothing. On a long vintage saddle, you're never going to lower it from the bottom like a lot of people do. Because if you lower it from the bottom, it's going to get shorter. And that means the curve on the wings isn't going to fit. And it's just not the way to do it. The way to lower every saddle, in my opinion, is from the top, so that you can control the arch and you can put the strings right where you want them. Oh, what about the compensation? Big deal. Somebody put the compensation in there. I put the compensation on this one. Put it back in. It's just a matter of filing one angle and filing another angle. It's not a big deal. Anyway, so he wisely came back and told me the story, and I had mercy on him. And I said, good, I'll go ahead and send it to me. I'll reglue it. One thing about this is when I did it in maybe it was earlier than 17. I don't remember. It's been a long time. It's been many years. I used hide glue, hot hide glue to glue this back on. And there was a period of time when I was using hot hide glue to do this. Every single bridge failure that I have ever had has been done with hot hide glue. And it's wonderful stuff until it's not. So it's like, oh, you need to hit the wood, you need to hit the glue, you have to do all of these things. And the problem is you don't know if you did it right until it fails. And so what happened in this, and probably it wasn't hot enough. Or maybe I didn't use enough glue, I don't know. But I will say this, is that when I was heating the bridge to take it off, it stuck itself back down so good, I almost couldn't get it off again. And so one thing about hide glue bridges is that if they do come loose, they're really easy to get back on. And sometimes, if you're not having to ship the guitar across the country like this one was, if it's a local thing, sometimes it's worth just heating it up, putting a little bit of moisture, maybe a little bit of extra glue in there, and heating it up and reclamping it and see if it sticks, because a lot of times that's all it takes. So, but on this one I re-glued it with Luthier's Mercantile Instrument Glue, and I've finished up the mods on this guitar. I'd already done the back braces, but I had not done the popsicle brace, and I had not finished the scallop. So I went ahead and I did that. I pulled the popsicle brace and I finished the scallop, which on HDs, all the HD series, the scallop starts about 1.5 inches back from the X. So you got the X bracing right here, which this one's forward shifted, so the X is right here. And the scalloping doesn't start for about another 1.5 inches back. And I talk a lot about that. And to me, it creates a stress riser. It also, by not scalloping there, it's a vintage recreation. And it's kind of like Martin only went halfway until they started doing the authentics. There's an authentic sitting over there. Until they started doing the authentics, it's like they only went halfway on the vintage thing. And I don't know why in the world they came up with the idea of not scalloping it all the way. I'm sure they have their reasons. But so anyways, I finished the scallop and brought the scallop all the way to the X and smoothed everything out again. And what that does is it gives the guitar a little bit more bass, a little bit more woof. It just makes it more like what it's supposed to be, which is a vintage recreation. All right, I did that. I did a new pickguard on it. It had the pepperoni pickguard, which is horrible. The dot matrix pepperoni. And we talked about pickguards, and we put one on here that's almost just exactly like my 70s over there. And it's a nice brown pickguard. I like these a lot. It looks good on this guitar. So I'm going to compare it today to two other guitars here, and the point is really kind of to show you some differences. Again, I've already done almost this identical ABC before, but it's always good to repeat it so that you can see for yourself what kind of differences are available in here. And it's not a better or comparison. What it is well, it might be better for you, but it's like, okay, I'm looking for a D28. What kind of sound am I after? Because this HD-28 is very different from this D28 1941 Authentic. They are almost as different as two D28s can be. This one is Indian rosewood, Sitka spruce top. The bracing is good now, but it's a forward X brace that's fully scalloped now. So this is a forward X. It's got an adjustable truss rod. It's got tight bond glue, all that stuff. The bridge is too big, just a little. The D28 1941 Authentic has Madagascar rosewood, hide glue construction, T-bar truss rod, red spruce top, rear X bracing that's fully scalloped. So there's a difference. A lot of differences there. The 1973 D28 here that we're going to compare to is one of my modified 73 D28s, and it's Indian rosewood, Sitka spruce top. It's got a rear X, and it's partially scalloped. So the X bases are scalloped, but not the tone bars. It has a non-adjustable square tube truss rod and tight bond construction. So the 73 is like somewhere in between this one and the Authentic. Maybe the other way around. I'm trying to think which is more similarities. Yeah. It's neither one of these is halfway. It's different. The main difference is going to be the rear X on the 73 and the partially scalloped bracing. So that's what you want to listen to when you're listening to the 73 versus this one. And when you're listening to this one versus the Authentic, you're going to be listening to a whole completely different guitar. In spite of all that, I think you're going to find that this HD-28V got some game. I did a 5-guitar comparison a couple weeks ago, and a lot of people really liked the V, so I thought it'd be fun to do it again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the 73 first, so that way it'll be the 73, and you can compare the 73 to the 28V, and then I'm going to do the Authentic, and that way you'll be able to compare the 73 to the V, and then the V to the Authentic, and you'll be able to hear two back to back. So our first guitar is going to be the 73 modified D28. I think. Here's what I think from sitting behind the guitars. The 73 has got a monster mid-range punch to, which is what I want out of them. You might even call it nasally. It's on the verge of being nasally, but it's not nearly as nasally as a stock 73 D28. But I did try to keep, when I work on the 70s like that, I do try to keep the character of the 70s, and I just want to give it more, a little bit more richer, a little bit more bass, a little bit more fullness. So in that regards, that is still 70s. It's just warmer. It's nice. I really like that 73 on the swing chords. Gosh, the mid-range in that thing was just like barky, you know. And that's what I want. When I hit those rhythm chords like that, that 73 barked. I think the place that I like it the least was on the cross-picking part. I think the bark was a little too much then. When you do a cross-picking thing like that, you want a rich, warm sound, you know. I thought that this HD-28V did really, really good on that. Every time I switched between the 73 and the HD, I noticed immediately the bigger, fatter bass on this that the V has. It does not have the mid-range though, so it's like they're almost like opposites of each other. You know, the V has almost got this bass, and then the mid-range is scooped, and then pretty good trebles. You know, pretty good trebles. And I felt like the 73 was almost the other way around. It was like this, where the bass was down here, and the mid-range and the trebles came up. So they were almost like opposites of each other. And I like them both in different situations. When I was playing lead, I like the 73 a little bit better for that mid-range bark that I know is going to cut through. When I was playing rhythm and doing anything that was cross-picking or rhythm-oriented, by rhythm, not swing chords, because swing chords are different, but what I mean by rhythm, strumming, I guess people call it, you know. That sort of thing. This one's got a real rumble to it, which I think a lot of people really like. A lot of people really like the rumble. I like mid-range cut more because I'm such a lead guitar player. But for rhythm and that sort of thing, this thing was really good. And every time I picked it up, I thought, wow, that's a different sound. It definitely is a different sound. And so you might very much like this guitar. I'll tell you, the 28V's got probably the best neck of the whole bunch. The 73's got a great neck. The 41 Authentic has got that skinny neck, which I can adapt to. But every time I pick up this V, it's like, yeah, that's a good neck, you know. It's just a super comfortable neck. The V is really comfortable to play. It's a great guitar. No question about it. It's a really good guitar. The Authentic, I think pretty much everybody's going to agree that 41 Authentic is the best of the bunch. And it should be, because it costs twice as much. It's got all the right stuff. And it shows, you know. There's no question that it shows. So I think that Authentic has got it all. It's got the bass, it's got the treble. It doesn't quite have the mid-range bark, the 73, but it's got enough, you know. It's got enough treble and enough clarity in there, probably from the Red Spruce Top and the Madagascar Rosewood. Those two things push out that clarity a little bit more. So the 41, I think, is you know, probably the guitar that everybody's going to like the most, maybe. And probably people are going to like this V second. It might be winning, a lot of people. And most people are probably going to like the 73 the least, because it is kind of a purpose-built guitar. To me, it's a purpose-built band lead microphone guitar. I feel like this guitar might get a little mushy on the microphone. The 41 would be good, but I feel like that 73 was going to rule when it comes to, this is a microphone, but I'm talking about a stage microphone. In a stage situation, a microphone there, I think that 73 would be the guitar I would like to cut through a band. So, and I'm sure I'd play the 41 too. But gosh, so, you know, there are three different guitars, 3 different sounds. And the whole purpose of a comparison like this is so the customer can listen and say, oh, I like that one, and I like that one. And even though the sound coming through on the YouTube is a little bit different, at least I know I have a basis for why you like that sound. So, all right. I think customer's going to be happy with this V. And he did want the action lowered a little bit. After being strung up now for about 3 or 4 days, I can see the action has come up a little bit. I'll drop it down for him, which is fine. It's got plenty of saddle to go. Super guitar. So, I'll see if I can come up with one more thing to play that I haven't played a lot on. Let's see if I can remember this one. Here we go. Almost had it. All right, see you later.